So we'll read a little from Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita, Preaching to America, Part 2. The press was busy day and night. To see devotees slumped over their desks or typewriters or lying beside their easels at 2 or 3 in the morning was not unusual. Proofreaders saw manuscripts come into and out of their hands so quickly they could hardly bear it. An artist might fall asleep before an uncompleted painting and awaken to find it being finished at another artist's easel. Rameshwar, running on very little sleep, orchestrated everything, including the photographer in India, the printer and the paper company. Sometimes he would work directly with Radhaballabha on various aspects of the production. Radhaballabha had set the deadlines, and he kept to them at all costs. To the press workers, he seemed to be present everywhere, encouraging them, bringing them supplies, seeing to their needs, begging and coercing them to complete their quotas. But one night, he took a break and entered Prabhupada's room during an informal gathering of devotees. Prabhupada, his eyes closed, his head gently rocking, was listening to a tape of himself singing bhajanas. Opening his eyes and seeing Radhaballabha seated among the others, he said, "I am keeping you," and again closed his eyes. One of the devotees spoke up and said, "Oh, no, Prabhupada, you're not bothering us." But another devotee turned to Radhaballabha and said, "I think Prabhupada was talking to you." Radhaballabha realized what Prabhupada meant. He was telling him to go back to work. It was as if Prabhupada was actually saying, "Why are you sitting here looking at me? Get back to work." Srila Prabhupada was pleased with the sincerity of his disciples. 17 books in 2 months he had asked them to produce. And they, rather than try to explain to him why this was impossible, had taken the order so seriously that they could not conceive of rejecting or changing or modifying it. Instead of modifying the order, they had modified their lives. They had gone beyond the realm of routine work into the realm of extraordinary effort. As a result, both they and Prabhupada felt great satisfaction. As Prabhupada said, it was all an arrangement for the satisfaction of Lord Chaitanya and the previous acharyas. Srila Prabhupada decided to continue his U.S. tour, visiting Laguna Beach and San Diego, and then going on to Dallas. From there, he would visit New Orleans and the nearby ISKCON farm in Mississippi. Then on to Detroit, Toronto, Boston, and New York, eventually traveling to Europe and India. From Prabhupada's point of view, his touring was imperative for spreading Krishna consciousness. As he had said in his arrival address at Berkeley, "I am traveling all over the world, twice, thrice in a year. My duty is to see that my disciples, who have accepted me as Guru, may not fall down. That is my anxiety." Prabhupada's concern was for his disciples, but also for all people. Distressed by the fallen and ignorant state of humanity, especially in the West, he wanted to help the English-speaking world as his spiritual master had ordered. This had been his spirit 2 years ago in Calcutta, when he had risen from his sickbed and flown to London to take part in the Ratha Yatra. This was his great desire to preach in the West, where people were so strongly under the grip of speculative philosophies, denying God and glorifying sense enjoyment. The mass of people would not easily change their ignorant ways. But if he could make only one person a pure devotee, he said, then his work would be successful. Prabhupada would work intensively with his important India projects for a few months, but then would always return to the West to again tour and preach. Both were required, developing his projects in India and touring the West. When Yogi Bhajan and company in Berkeley had expressed their amazement at how Prabhupada was personally maintaining his disciples by traveling all over the world, Prabhupada had admitted that it was difficult, and that he was trying to train his GBC secretaries to lead his movement. But so far it seemed that as long as he had the power to do so, he would continue to travel. Srila Prabhupada ki. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from the Śhrīmad-Bhāgavatam, 1st Canto, 18th chapter, 18th verse, according to the schedule. Can you confirm? 19. Huh? 19. See, somebody's skipping around, not sticking to the schedule. No problem. Canto 1, chapter 18, text 19. Kuta punar grinato namatasya. Kutak punar grinato namatasya. Mahattamai kanta parayanasya. Mahattamai kanta parayanasya. Yonanta shaktir bhagavan ananto. Yonanta Shaktir Bhagavan Ananto. Mahadgunat Bhadyat Yam Anantam Ahu. Mahadgunat Bhadyam Anantam Ahu. Please chant. Kutak punagrinato namatasya. Mahattamai kanta parayanasya. Yonanta Shakti Bhagavan Ananto. Mahadgunat Bhadyam Anantam Ahu. Kutak punagrinato namatasya. Mahatmaka kanta parayanasya. Yonanta Shakti Bhagavan Ananto. Mahadgunat Bhadyam Anantam Ahu. Kutak, what to say? Punak, again. Grinatat, one who chants. Nama, holy name. Tasya, his. Mahattama, great devotees. Ekanta, exclusive. Parayanasya, of one who takes shelter of. Ya, he who. Ananta, is the unlimited. Shakti, potency. Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead. Ananta, immeasurable. Mahat, great. Gunatvat, on account of such attributes. Yam, whom. Anantam, by the name Ananta. Ahu, is called. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And what to speak of those who are under the direction of the great devotees, chanting the holy name of the Unlimited, who has unlimited potency. The personality of Godhead, unlimited in potency and transcendental by attributes, is called the Ananta, unlimited. Please repeat. And what to speak of those who are under the direction of the great devotees, chanting the holy name of the Unlimited, who has unlimited potency. The personality of Godhead, unlimited in potency and transcendental by attributes, is called the Ananta, unlimited. Purport. The Dvija Bandhu, or the less intelligent, uncultured men born of higher castes, put forward many arguments against the lower caste men becoming Brahmanas in this life. They argue that birth in a family of Shudras, or less than Shudras, is made possible by one's previous sinful acts, and that one therefore has to complete the terms of disadvantages due to lower birth. And to answer these false logicians, Śhrīmad-Bhāgavatam asserts that one who chants the holy name of the Lord under the direction of a pure devotee can at once get free from the disadvantages due to lower caste birth. A pure devotee of the Lord does not commit any offense while chanting the holy name of the Lord. There are 10 different offenses in the chanting of the holy name of the Lord. To chant the holy name under the direction of a pure devotee is offenseless chanting. Offenseless chanting of the holy name of the Lord is transcendental, and therefore such chanting can at once purify one from the effects of all kinds of previous sins. This offenseless chanting indicates that one has fully understood the transcendental nature of the holy name and is thus surrendered unto the Lord. Transcendentally, the holy name of the Lord and the Lord himself are identical, being absolute. The holy name of the Lord is as powerful as the Lord. The Lord is the all-powerful personality of Godhead, and he has innumerable names, which are all non-different from him and are equally powerful also. In the last word of the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord asserts that one who surrenders fully unto him is protected from all sins by the grace of the Lord. Since his name and he himself are identical, the holy name of the Lord can protect the devotee from all effects of sins. The chanting of the holy name of the Lord can undoubtedly deliver one from the disadvantages of a lower caste birth. The Lord's unlimited power is extended on and on by the unlimited expansion of the devotees and incarnations. And thus every devotee of the Lord, and incarnations also, can be equally surcharged with the potency of the Lord. Since the devotee is surcharged with the potency of the Lord, even fractionally, the disqualification due to lower birth cannot stand in the way. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Admalatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Lankai Tegaram Yat Kipatamaham Bande Shri Gurum Dinataram. Translation again. And what to speak of those who are under the direction of the great devotees, chanting the holy name of the unlimited, who has unlimited potency. The personality of Godhead, unlimited in potency and transcendental by attributes, is called the Ananta, unlimited. So this purport makes it very clear to those who would be reading that the holy name of the Lord is all-powerful. We understand Krishna's. From reading Bhagavad Gita, we understand this. So therefore, Bhagavad Gita is the preliminary study. And therefore we see why there is so much misconception. People jump to the Śhrīmad-Bhāgavatam thinking that they're so-called qualified, having taken birth in Brahmin families. And then they erroneously conclude that there are different grades of devotees without having come to the platform of self-realization. Their conclusions can only stem from the bodily concept of life. So this is a great handicap. This is why the preaching field in America was so fertile. and why Srila Bhaktisiddhanta instructed Srila Prabhupada to come here. And even after preaching for so many years in India, certain types of men are attracted, satisfied by the philosophy, achieving some inner peace, and then for them, that was the conclusion of spiritual life. That they dedicate themselves to the bhajan. This is Bhajananandi. Prabhupada is not Srila Prabhupada, but we understand that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta has made some distinction. Why? What is the need? Everyone is a devotee. Everyone is chanting the holy name. So why the difference that there's Bhajananandi and Goshtianandi? So these things are further clarified, through the appreciation of the corollary writings of the Goswamis, where we can understand that according to one's level of purification, he becomes Goswami. Vacha vegam, manasa krodha vegam, jiva vegam, udara upasta vegam, etan vegam, yo vishaheta dira. Sarama pimam prativit. What's that? In any case, one has to be able to control the senses, and then he can be called Goswami. And then he can make disciples. Not that one simply by birth, which is the tradition. They're called Jati Guru. There's Jati Guru, some tradition that this family is connected to this Guru, and generation after generation, the Guru gives some ritualistic impression, and it is described as initiation. And then his son takes up that mantle, and he is also called Guru. And on like this. But without qualification, this simply just a meaningless tradition. Samskars are meant for purification. And so this is not to be taken lightly. It's just like you don't go to someone who is a doctor by name only. What if there's a man, his name is Dr. such and such? That doesn't give him any skill just by having this name. So this Dvija Bandhu, this is the unqualified sons of Brahmanas who are just by some tradition have inherited the title of Goswami or Pandit, but they have no real qualification. They have not come to the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita. Simple conclusion. Na jayate mriyate va kadachan. The simple thing, that we are not these bodies. For the soul there is never birth or death. They cannot describe this transmigration of the soul. They accept it superficially, that, oh yes, you have to, by birth you're a Sudra, and therefore you must remain a Sudra. This is the extent of their limited understanding, which of course works in their favor, to maintain some hold on the money-making side of this caste brahmanas. They only want to control it for money's sake only. And so therefore they read this Śhrīmad-Bhāgavatam, they do Bhagavad Saptaha, but they cannot give any purport. And so the unfortunate audience is cheated. They want to hear the Bhagavatam. But how can someone, we see what are the qualifications of those sages in Naimisharanya, that they're hearing Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, and they're putting forward such questions that allow the speaker to respond, having been pleased and understanding that such questions are for the benefit of mankind. So this is an important understanding in the exchange, that one has to be a qualified listener and one has to be a qualified speaker. So here we're attempting, and so what is that qualification? That by the chanting of the holy name, Nama Chintamani Krishna Chaitanya Rasavigraha, by the chanting of the holy name, we associate with the pure Shuddha Sattva, beyond Shuddha Sattva, Purna Shuddha Nityamukta, the fully pure. We have different levels of purity in the material world according to some classification. Some things are to a degree pure, and they're qualified as such. Because technically there's no such thing as 100% pure in the material world, except for the holy name, which cannot be contaminated or conditioned. The only instance of caution is that the lips touched the holy name when it's by some unqualified person or spoken inappropriately, then it can have a deleterious effect. But this is not the fault of the holy name. Holy name is still pure. There's still some benefit. But if it's not properly in context, and that person has no qualification, then he can cheat the unsuspecting audience, because they'll think that, oh, this person is qualified. He's chanting, but he's not following. So there is some distinction there. Now, what is the criteria for qualification? Prabhupada gives one indication in Mayapur when they were doing some inspection along the boundary wall, and they came upon the bathroom for the workers. It was not kept very nicely. Actually, it was abominable. And Prabhupada took note. And then when they came back to the temple and Prabhupada was giving class, he gave the purport to his observation, which was that if you ignore such filthy condition, mode of ignorance, then you must be in the mode of ignorance. Because mode of goodness, you would have to act. You would have to act. So Prabhupada chastised them. So you are coming to the level of brahmanas. And then he even said, so maybe there should be no more Brahman initiation. And there were 100 devotees or more waiting to take Brahman initiation who had just come from America. But he was saying, this is incompatible. He said, fire and fire, no conflict. Acid and acid, no conflict. But acid and water, there's reaction. So if you see the mode of ignorance and you don't act, then you must also be in the mode of ignorance. So this was the test. It wasn't in paper, it wasn't in writing, it wasn't passed out and distributed. But Prabhupada could understand that these disciples were not, how can you say, internalizing the conclusion, Tada rajastamo bhavo kama lobhadayasche chet eternabidam ditpam sitpam prasita. They have to rise through the modes of nature. One has to change. If he's chanting the holy name and his habits have not changed, his behavior has not changed, his attitude has not changed, his conclusion has not changed, then what is? Only his dress has changed. Only external has changed. So we don't want to be this pretender that just for money's sake or just for some other reputation, not so much in America. You don't get any, how can you say, concession for wearing dhoti and kurta and tilak. Nobody thinks, oh, this is a sadhu. Let me give some respect. No. In the West, that doesn't exist. But in India, if somebody puts on this dress, especially saffron color, everybody has, by tradition, some cultural affection, which is, we're reading, this is the reason Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas. Just for the benefit of the people at large, that they would not be prone to criticize and that they would offer respects. So we should not adopt this lifestyle simply because it gives some superficial benefits. A nice place to eat, nice place to sleep, nice place to socialize. And another lecture in Mayapur. These lectures in Mayapur, I encourage everyone to listen. Very revealing. He said that that if someone is coming to the society, the temple, the institution, simply for sense gratification, for some eating, sleeping, like a hotel, is that his coming to the society is useless. Very strong words. Useless. So one should not think that the temple is a place simply for eating and sleeping and socializing. He said, otherwise it is useless. And he cautioned, he said, very firm words, he said, all the GBCs take care that this does not happen. Otherwise, he said, everything will be spoiled. Everyone must have heard that lecture, no? Very famous lecture. Let's see. A very famous lecture. Let's see if we can fast forward to the end. No, I don't see how to do that now. I'll have to look at it and see. There's, in any case, he gives the class, and then at the end, he gives very strong warning to all the devotees, including the GBC. So this is not something to be taken lightly. That, what is that? Let's see if it's in Prabhupada's lectures here. It's worth the time to appreciate. Audio lecture. No, I don't see it. But I'll give it to you as homework. That you'll have to look it up and you can read the transcript or you can listen to the class. I'll post it on the residence chat. I'm sure I've posted it before because it's very instructive. Prabhupada gives many analogies. He gives the show bottle analogy, where he says, show bottle will not act. So this is an important thing. Don't be Dvija Bandhu, that just by some association with the society, one thinks that, and we see many people come like that. They hang around the temples. They hang around the devotees. But they don't accept the lifestyle. They will not surrender. They maintain some independence. And this independence is very detrimental because to take such persons' association, to continue without giving them and forcing them to accept it, because they have some other conclusion. That's why they don't surrender. So we're not doing them a favor by not saying, but Prabhu, you're coming all the time. Have you read Bhagavad Gita? Have you come to any conclusion? I mean, yeah, everything's nice. So if this is nice, the prasadam is nice, the temple is nice, everything is nice, don't you understand that the philosophy that is the basis for all this must be superior to everything else? But people are all thinking, oh, no, don't disturb their minds, they're Christians, they're this or that, the other. No, that's okay. Let them be disturbed and make a decision in their lives. Otherwise, what is the point of that association? You know? Otherwise, give them prasadam and let them go on their way. But at a certain point, we should not be shy to present and say, you come all the time, but somehow or other, I don't see that you've accepted that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There's some hesitation on your part. What's that hesitation? Let them confess that, oh, well, actually, I go to the church here, so I'm attached to that Christian philosophy. Okay, so what is the approach that one wants to give under such response? You know, Prabhupada said that Jesus Christ is our guru. Well, why is he our guru? Because he's teaching love of God. So have you achieved love of God through your pursuit of Christianity? Because if not, then something is lacking in your practice. It hasn't been awakened. You know? Simply professing that, yes, this is my religion. This is just another material, how can you say, concession to not arriving at any concrete conclusion. You know, it's like someone wants to, Prabhupada gives the example of those persons who retire and they want to go to Vrindavan. And they give all their wealth to their family members. But then they say, but give me 200 rupees a month so I can stay in Vrindavan. But why hasn't that person given everything to Krishna? Why has he given everything to his family members? The family members will just prolong their material life with this, you know, on the fast path to hell. But if he surrenders everything to Krishna, then they have the example of what to do at the end of life. That everything should be given to Krishna. Everything should be dedicated to Krishna. And they, whatever their situation is, they should continue the independent lifestyle of the sons who should take care of the mother. Yeah. But it is not, what did Prabhupada say? The conclusion of that was, so if you're for me for 200 rupees, then I am for you 200 rupees. Yaya tamam prapadyante tam satava bhajamyam. As you surrender unto me, I reward you accordingly. So this is the thing. So we want to bring those who have not understood the concept of surrender to that level of appreciation. Giving oneself completely to God is a major step in anyone's existence. He understands that God is in control. He no longer sees himself as an independent, living entity in control of his own destiny. He understands that destiny, yes, may be something to do with one's previous life. Therefore, the caste brahmanas, they have that small understanding. But they cannot extrapolate and see how one can be purified even in this lifetime. Which is similar to the Christian philosophy that, heaven and hell, two extremes. That if one commits sin, some sins they cannot rectify, and you become condemned. But how is that? But that's their inability, because their philosophy has limitations. For whatever reason. Salvation is there. That's why, in one sense, the Shakti-Aves, empowered incarnation that we know as Lord Jesus Christ, appeared to give them some concession. Like Prahlad Maharaj, I will take your sins. But they take it as some blanket insurance policy without anything that, whatever I do, now I'm forgiven. Whatever abominable act, yes, you are. But then you cannot commit that act again and again and again and again. This false concept of confession, this prayaschitta, that one can go and unlimitedly confess and continue sinful activity. This is a gross abomination and insult to the teachings of Christ. He doesn't say, thou shalt not kill this week. He just says, thou shalt not kill. He says, thou shalt not commit adultery. It doesn't say, it's not qualified. It's thou shalt not do it. So if you do it once, and yes, you go and you're forgiven, but you don't do it again. If you do it again, it means you have no concern, no respect for the teachings of the Acharya, of the spiritual master. So if you have no respect, then how can you have love? And if there's no love, then what is the relationship? It is meaningless. So this is where there's a trap, that one thinks, I'm forgiven. Yes, you are. We're all forgiven by the mercy of the spiritual master. But don't commit sinful activities again. By accident, these things happen. Bhagavad Gita also concedes, api chet sudaracharo, bhajate mamananyabhak, that one who remains on the platform and continues chanting and has remorse for that situation and vows not to do it again, then he is saved from the sinful reaction. But not that person who justifies the situation, or who thinks that I can do this and someone else will take the blame. No, that's irresponsible. Who does that? If I kill someone, you can take the blame for me? No. If I kill someone, then I suffer. And that's also presented there in the scripture. An eye for an eye. There is no escaping it. But if one gets the association and accepts the spiritual master truly within his heart and surrenders himself 100%, that my life is yours from this day forward, then God takes control. But there are no days off. There's no vacation. It's not that, no, for 2 weeks I'm not going to follow any religious rules and regulations. I'm on vacation. I'm just going to commit all sinful activities. I'm going to do whatever I want. And then after 2 weeks I'll go to confession. No. Not purposefully. So one has to Nama Chintamani Krishna Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha. He has to develop faith in the holy name. By chanting the holy name, one gets realization. That's that. He sees that, yes, how my life has changed. He studies within himself. He knows what he was. And he can understand that purport, Tadara Justamo Bhavo. He has seen that there's less, not completely free, but there's a higher taste. He does not want to eat the flesh of dead animals. He understands the inherent violent nature of the act and the degraded nature of such activities. But one has to be somewhat self-realized. He has to come to the mode of goodness. One is not in the mode of goodness. He cannot see such things. He cannot see. Even though it's directly in front of him. He understands that I should not kill. But he thinks, no, I've been given some concession. Concession means in emergency. Even sometime you see, many years ago, there was a plane crash high in the Andes Mountains, a soccer team. And they were stranded. And there were, I don't know how many survivors, 10, 12, something, and many died. And they had nothing. And they were freezing cold. And what to do? So eventually they ended up eating some of their teammates. Yes. Because they had to survive. So when they were finally rescued, they all went to receive confession, because it's a Christian country, that team. So they were absolved from that sin. It's obviously a great sin. Of course, one could say, why? Just a dead body, and it's just flesh. They're eating so many other dead bodies, what's the difference? But no one would, in a normal situation, do that. So all meat eating technically is abnormal. Therefore we have 2 canine teeth for emergency. That if there's nothing else, then just to survive until one can go and get into a normal situation, then he may have to eat something which he would not normally eat. But this is an exception. But now everyone is taken. So after the great flood, which is portrayed in the Bible, when the waters subsided, there was no vegetation. So then they had so many animals, because they brought them on the ark. This is at least the tale that's told. And so because there was no vegetation, they had to eat something. They'd exhausted all of the supplies. Then supposedly there was a concession that, okay, you can eat some of these animals. Because otherwise in the Bible it clearly says that there is no meat eating. I give to you the green things, let them be as meat for you. That's described in Genesis in the very beginning. I give to you all the fruits, vegetables, trees that produce such things, like that. That is the food for human beings, for those who desire to become pure, spiritually advanced, following in the footsteps of God. Does anyone think that when you go to heaven there's a barbecue? Does anyone think that? Some people do think that. No, there is no barbecue in heaven. There is no flesh eating in heaven. Of course, then someone said, well, you don't have to because you're in a so-called spiritual body. Anyway, so many misconceptions. But the first and primary misconception is that I am this body. As soon as one rises to that level of appreciation that I am not this body, then he can begin to understand the revealed scripture. Then he can begin to understand. And everything will start to make sense gradually, piece by piece, page by page, page by page. But, so we have, Prabhupada came, we understand what effort he had to expend in order to attract the Westerners. But we see that the first attraction was the chanting of the holy names. Because it is so pure, and coming from a pure devotee, how much potency we can imagine just listening to Srila Prabhupada chant Krishna's name. It is so purifying. Across time and space, no limitation. So this chanting of the holy names from the mouth of a pure devotee, this was what was able to transform an entire generation. Nothing else. After that came prasadam. First the holy name. Isn't that what it says? Vatsa vegam manasakroda vegam. Jiva vegam. So, we'll read the verse again. And what to speak of those who are under the direction of the great devotees, chanting the holy name of the unlimited, who has unlimited potency. Personality of Godhead, unlimited in potency, and transcendental by attributes, is called the Ananta, unlimited. So we have very clear now why we Yuga Dharma, Harinam Sankirtan. Everyone should appreciate. The sound vibration of the holy name never loses its potency. Even if it's coming through some less qualified person like myself. Still, if someone says, chant the holy name, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And if someone takes that just, for his own benefit, then what's the difference? We're just the messengers in any case. We are just the messengers. Prabhupada has given us everything. So we have our duty and our obligation to serve him. Yasya Devi Parabhaktir Yataya Devi Tataguru. One has implicit faith in both the spiritual master and Krishna. Tasyate Katitayata Prakashante Mahatmana. All the purports, imports of the Vedas are automatically revealed to that person. Mat karma krin, mat paramo, mat bhakta sangavarjata, nirvara sarvabhuteshu. He just has to be free from sinful activities. So that's why they're living in the ashram, becoming free from sinful activities. And rising through the modes of material nature. So that we don't any longer ignore the mode of ignorance when it is presented to us. We recognize it and we avoid it, or we correct it. If it's within ourselves, we correct it. If it's externally and we can correct it, then we also do whatever we can. But first, correction has to be internal. First has to be internal. We're not trying to find fault with others. Observation is one thing and is meant for our edification. If we see such persons acting in such a way, it is not always possible. In the material world, if you see someone killing someone, you can stop that person, even by killing that person, and you're not held responsible to save the other person. So such extreme measures are allowed. So we don't mind if someone is angry at us, if we're trying to save that person, but he doesn't appreciate. Because we understand that the possibility of saving him is greater duty. But it may not be appreciated. That's a different thing. It may not be appreciated. We've seen such situations where you might try to interfere in something like this, and that person says, "Why are you interfering? I want this person to beat me." They don't say it like that. They just say, "He's not hurting me." That person is actually being hurt very badly, but somehow or other in their minds, they have some helpless feeling. And they think, no, it's okay. It must be my fault. No. One who's intelligent, he can understand. What is the difference between right and wrong? And so he's allowed to take action. And he's not held responsible. It's called the Good Samaritan law. That's also a biblical parable about a person who rendered aid. And he was from that area, Samaria, so he was recognized for his efforts, and since time immemorial now, someone who does some good to a stranger, he's called a Good Samaritan. Because he didn't have to do it, but yet he went out of his way and he assisted. So people recognize that as a positive characteristic, to want to help others. But we see that many people just don't want to be helped. And therefore we feel some sadness. What to do. So it is up to us to how to think, how to reach out, how to impress upon a person that his best interest is to read this Bhagavad Gita, to understand who he is, who God is, and what his relationship with God is. So we're always thinking how to bring that person closer. This is the only thoughts of the devotee, the disciple, how to bring others to have the same benefit. Therefore, they're even in all philosophies, they call them preachers, Goshti Nandi, preachers. They're not satisfied that I have been saved. I want to save others. And some people will appreciate and some will not. But our duty is clear, that we should speak this message to whomever we meet. Yaradake Tarika Krishna Upadesh. Simple. Whoever you meet, you instruct them about Krishna. Whoever you meet. So sometimes it is difficult. We think, I can't speak to this person. So you have to think how. One way is non-verbal interaction. One always has to have on his tilak. He has to have his shika. And if possible, he has to have his dress. Because then automatically that person is benefited. Because he thinks, here's another crazy Hare Krishna. But he's thinking Hare Krishna. And that's okay. Any questions, concerns, comments? We want everyone to read Bhagavad Gita, and then they won't have such questions like, why don't we give respect to the demigods? Why do we call certain demigods? That's an insult to many people. Because many people do not know Ishvaraha Paramaha Krishnaha Satchidananda Vigraha. Matak Paratalam Nanyat Kinchit Asti Dalam Siddha. Ekala Ishvara Krishna Arsa Britya. They don't know these conclusions. They haven't read. That Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And all others are His servants. There are no two Bhagavans. But somehow or other, people are attached to some cultural tradition that says, no, this God is the supreme God, or He's my God, or He's greater than all of the gods. No. So, the best thing is to say, have you read Bhagavad Gita? Or have you read the Bhagavad Purana? Just the name Bhagavad Gita means the song of God. So who is that person who's in having discourse? Is he God? And they're thinking, no, he's just some avatar. He's not the summum bonum. So this is unfortunate, but by reading Bhagavad Gita, if we can get them to chant, then the purification will have an effect. That is guaranteed. That is absolutely guaranteed. Yes, Mataji? We're finishing right now. We just asked for questions, but you weren't here, so you have any questions? Grantaraj Śhrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki. Yeah. I don't know if Jayadvaita Maharaj would like that, though.
This is okay. He told me. Ladies.